some questions here. Gonna ask Tom, get his opinion on. Tom,
You don't want my old man opinion?
you been racing what, since the 90s?
Yeah, I did, and then I quit for a long time, and then when Justin got into it, I got back into it.
Right. So let's go ahead and hit this right off on the head, that we should have to qualify for nationals and go through a region.
I do. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's going through a region or make some of these other races qualifiers.
Okay. I like that.
Because, not everybody can make it to a region, but it seems like everybody can make it to a big race.
Right. Right. I like that. But do you think the sport's big enough now? Like, you have people probably show up for the region or the big race, and then they're like, I don't want to go to national. Even though they qualified, they're like, I don't want to go to national. And the person that was wanting to go but didn't qualify doesn't get that shot, that chance.
Well, there's got to be some... let's just go into my whole explanation of what I think. Yeah, so I definitely think there should be some sort of qualifying for nationals. I mean, there's got to be some way to bring back the prestige of nationals, something to shoot for, So it's not just something, oh yeah, I'm going to go to nationals. I suck, or I'm mediocre, or I'm great. I'm going to go to nationals. The prestige of the U.S. nationals, at least in off-road, it seems like, 8 scale and on-road and all that, it's pretty big, but off-road is lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, it all goes back to state races.
Yeah.
Roar's got to be more involved in promoting state races, and you kind of start your qualifying there. So you're starting out at your state races, or if you don't have a state race, you go to your region, but start out your state race. That used to be okay. The state race guys used to go to the regions,
right?
And then the certain number of people from the regions went to nationals,
right?
And I know back, there was guys from Region 4, which is Florida. They come up to Region 3, which was 5 states: Georgia, Alabama, South, North Carolina, Tennessee. They come up there just to try to get qualified for nationals.
Yeah, so it's kind of in motocross. It's a race called Loretta Lynn's. So Loretta Lynn's was kind of like that, but Loretta's was like you had to go to an area and then a region, and then you get to Loretta's. But yeah, I know. Yeah.
But there's, I get it. There's a lot of guys that aren't going to go to their region races, or they can't make it to a region race.
Yeah.
And then that's where I think we got to, Roar would need to designate certain events to be national qualifiers.
Right.
So you got, Masters, of course, that's going to be a qualifier.
Right.
Maybe some of the J concepts, maybe some of those INS races.
The Clash could be one.
Yeah, the Clash. God, that'd be a nice one. Clash, first race of the year, qualifier for nationals, you're in. That'd be a relief for a lot of people to say, hey, I'm in, all right.
Yeah.
But, you were talking about, well, what if those people they decided not to go to nationals?
Right.
Or they couldn't afford to go to nationals. Maybe it's across the country from where they're at.
Right.
And that's fine, but just have some, some alternates. Have a certain number of alternates. So let's say nationals, we limit it to 200 entries. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know the math right now with all the regions and all, qualifiers. I'd have to sit down really hash it out and write it down and see what it would take to get 200 people to qualify, but then have another 100 alternates.
Right.
You know, and then, okay, nationals is this time of year every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the races leading up to that would the specified races would qualify you. And then, Roar could keep a running list on their website, which would draw people back to their website to keep up with, where am I at? Did I qualify? Yep, I'm in. Okay. Am I not in? Am I in? Am I on the alternate list, or am I on the inside? Am I inside the circle, or am I on the outside looking in?
Right.
But, Roar could keep up with that. That would bring more attention back to Roar to get people looking at their website and reading stuff.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thoughts on it. You know, I think you get these bigger races, outside of the regions that also are qualifiers, because there's a lot of guys, face it, there's a lot of guys aren't going to go run a region race in their region.
Right.
But if you do, you get the benefit of getting qualified to go to nationals.
Right.
Will any of this ever happen? I have no idea.
Well,
I don't know if there's enough interest right now in 10 scale off-road to even warrant even talking about it. But
unless
that's just my 2 cents.
Unless they do this all across the board, like 10 scale, 8 scale,
just implement the rules. I mean, Roar's good at implementing their own new rules.
Right. And
on the fly even. So.
And then like at Loretta's, they were, back then it was, or not back then, now, how it's been since the 80s is, you run your area qualifier, then you go to the region, and if you didn't make it, they say go Loretta's anyway with your bike, your motorcycle,
right,
and go there anyway, expecting to race. And they said sometimes there would be a person or two or maybe 3 that wouldn't show up for Loretta's. You put in as an alternate, you're there. They said chances are you're gonna line up, you're gonna race.
There you go.
So it could be something like that at the nationals where, you go to the regions and you didn't qualify, but you have the means and the time to go to the nationals. Just go to nationals anyway, and chances are there'll be an opening.
Yeah, that was kind of like the Reedy race.
Yeah.
I never made it to the Reedy race. I did. I cleared the list at the very end, but it was too short a notice for me to fly across the country to go to it. But
right.
Guys would just show up out there.
Right.
Hoping to get in, and they get in because other people didn't show up.
How could Roar? For y'all that don't know, Roar is a RC governing body. I forgot to add that in the beginning.
That's our sanctioning body.
Yeah, that's RC sanctioning body that regulates all the national events and pretty much determines who goes to what, the IFMAR? IFMAR was?
I think don't. I am no expert on Roar by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
I just know, they we use their rules for regions, nationals, state races. A lot of these big races will go by Roar rules. And they are our sanctioning body for the U.S. Other countries have their own. We love them.
But, okay, back to the question is, how could we make Roar, or how could Roar get themselves in more prestigious, or back to a prestigious, because back in the day, Roar was it back in the 90s and 2000s or early 2000s. Like that was it. Like, I'll tell you a story. The region was in Cherryville one year. So me and my dad would go practice on a dry, dusty track, no water, no nothing. That's our practice.
Right.
And did all that and everything, and I didn't make it. And it was like, didn't qualify for a national. It was like my world stopped. So, bringing it back, that's how prestigious and that's what it meant to me back then. But now, I was at the Roar event just recently and it just didn't have that prestige. So how can they get that prestige back?
That's the $1 million question. A lot of it they've brought on themselves, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it was through not staying true to their rules a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what was good for this group wasn't good for another group, but whoever had the loudest voice got the say.
Right.
Or would change the rules and they would cater to a certain group. And I'm not, this ain't a roar bashing session by any means, but
right.
It's just what, somebody on the outside looking in at some of these races, that's what we see.
Right.
And, is it fair to everybody? No, because they'll cater to one group. Whoever screams the loudest, will get the ruling in their favor, which they should never change a rule.
Right.
They should stick to the rule. And I'll go back to, what was it, the E-Buggy Nats at SS Hobbies at Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody was there practicing. We get ready. Everybody starts going through tech.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Hobby Wing had just come out with their new motor not too long before that. And it wasn't Roar approved.
Right.
So a lot of guys that were running Hobby Wing motors were scrambling because they didn't bring their older motors that were approved. A couple guys did.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody had the motors to run. So a group had motors that were Roar approved, so they gave those motors to all these guys. There's probably 8 or 9 of them that didn't have motors.
Mm-hmm.
So he handed out all these motors. I don't know if he sold them to them or gave them to them to run or what, but they were brand new motors. And I'll just say it was Trinity.
Right.
Kevin Abbott had brought enough motors to where, okay, I can get enough motors to all these guys, and it was mainly the pros, that they could all run. And then, I don't know, somebody was crying and whining about it. And then Roar just said, oh, we'll just run whatever you brought.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's going on there? Here's a guy that's prepared, has the right motor, got all his Roar approved motors and batteries and everything else. And then all these other guys, by rights, should be disqualified, or they got to run that other motor, one or the other. But not disqualified, but they just can't run until they get the right motor.
Right.
But they changed the rule like that. Mm-hmm. Because people were whining and complaining that it's not Roar's fault. Don't yell at Roar because it's their rule. If your motor's not approved, you can't run it.
Right.
And, just look at the slot machine. They made a small change in production that nobody knew about, and boom, can't run the slot machine anymore.
Right.
And I think Roar's just got to stick to the rules. What's good for one is good for all, and stop changing the rules to fit a certain group because everybody sees it.
Right.
You see a team manager over there just chomping in Roar officials' ears.
Yeah.
Just not cussing them out, but just pleading their case.
Right.
And then next thing you know, they make an announcement. Oh, well, you can run this motor now, or we can run this battery now, or your car can be 100 grams underweight now. Just willy-nilly stuff. Yeah, that's not true, but I'm just making things up. But
well,
you know,
like AJ brought up something that it was up at Nationals up in Maryland one year that they had you couldn't run you could only run Roar's tire sauce or something like that, and next thing you know they allowed everybody's tire sauce, and you couldn't modify the foams and whatnot, and
well, that happens every year.
People were doing it anyway.
That happens all the time.
Right.
They say, "Oh, this is the sauce you got to run."
Right.
And they'll tossing table.
Right.
But everybody comes up with, they put their own sauce on it at their pit spot, and they come up to the track with whatever they're running. They ain't running the Roar approved sauce, and then the foams are on the inside. Guys are modifying foams when they're not supposed to be, or they're not using the foams that came with the tire. They're swapping them out, but nobody's checking that stuff.
Right.
If they start spot checking that stuff and DQing people or DQing that round for somebody, okay, now Roar's making some progress.
Or
they're holding people accountable for their actions.
Right. Or check it like impounded tires, like IFMAR, or do something like that. Impound tires like IFMAR, or after the race is over, the top 10 guys or top 13 are getting their tires cut open after the race.
Yeah, I think they ought to. I like the tire impound deal. It's not that big a deal.
Right.
They do it at Worlds all the time.
Right.
It's a handout tire. You come up, you get your tires, you put them on your car, you go out and race.
Right.
You get done racing, you come back, you take your tires off, you go back to your pits.
Right.
It's no different than when we used to have radio impound, because, we were running the crystals and we didn't have the new radios. So, you impounded your radio. You got done racing, you dropped your radio off at radio impound and went back to your pits.
Yep, the Colonel used to have a big U-Haul van at the end of the driver's stand. Yep.
And Rossiter's mom used to run radio impound.
Yep. So, should they do away with plaques? And then, specifically, should they do away with plaques, handing out plaques for B main and below? Only ones get plaques and trophies is the A main.
Well, I think at Nationals, I think they're fine handing out trophies for each main.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a big deal at Nationals. Hey, take, me, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If I make it into the C main and stock buggy, I'm ecstatic at Nationals. I mean, you got the best of the best stock drivers from all over the country. Those kids are faster than all get out. But if I can podium in the C main, I'm a happy camper.
Right.
I wouldn't mind a little. I don't need any. It doesn't really mean a whole lot to get it. I mean, at the moment, when you finish that race and you do make a podium in your main, it is a big deal.
Right.
But okay, you get home and a month later, where the hell did I put that thing?
Right.
Where are they? I don't have any of them hanging on the wall. The only ones that I got that are even remotely displayed are my A main Nationals that are in on our trophy case, me and my wife's trophy case.
Right.
Other than that, all the other plaques, they're shoved in cabinets and boxes and you name it, they're everywhere. But all my Masters of Dirt trophies are displayed.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are cool as hell. And the best trophy ever is the Palmetto trophies Beach RC every year.
Mm-hmm.
Those trophies are awesome. So I have all those displayed on top of my cabinet here in the garage.
Yeah, so that's what they were just saying. They were more like anything below A main's like a participation trophy, and that's how they was trying to make it out, you know. And
it is, and it isn't. You know, it's like you're not giving them out to everybody in the main. You're not giving them out to the top 10 like the A main.
Right.
But the lower mains, I mean, hell, you may have a kid that started maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it's maybe his first nationals, and you know, hell, he podiums the C main or something like that, you know, or maybe he makes it into the B. Maybe he's just got that talent, you know.
Right.
That's a big deal for him. You know, 2 or 3 years into the sport, the hobby, and he podiums at a nationals or a big race. That's a big deal.
Well, like for me, for example, me and my dad went down to the Winter Champs, and this was a year like Masami was there. You know, Kenwall didn't come that year because he had something going on, like health-wise or something, but the rest of the band of misfits were all there, the who's who. So
Kenwall didn't go because he knew you were coming.
Yeah. So we get there, and you know, we went by the itinerary that they put in the magazine. This wasn't no online stuff anymore. You had to get the magazine, cut out the entry form, and send the entry form in from the magazine. But so we get there, we only had 4 minutes practice because they were doing like time practice.
Right.
And if you followed the itinerary, you really only got like 4 minutes on the track or whatnot, or
right.
4 or 8, maybe 8 minutes. It was something weird like that because it had so many people there. So anyway, fast forward, I didn't do so well. I was in like M main or O main, but I got a plaque. I got like first place in that main, and I got a plaque, and the plaque was cool, but it made me feel like, I was a part of the event. You know, I did get like a souvenir from the event, you know, to show that I was there.
Right.
Kind of thing, you know. So it was like, that's a memento that I always have, is that plaque.
Yeah, and the Winter Champs back in the day was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like a Masters of Dirt now.
Yeah. Masters of Dirt mixed with CRC, or not CRC, the Clash. It was like Masters of Dirt and Clash all at one.
Right.
Because it was the first race of the year, too, February. But yeah, so that was like one of the things people were chiming in on. As far as silly season, have you heard anything on anybody leaving?
I have no idea.
Me and O talked about this a little bit, and you know, we talked about last week. We talked about people leaving hot bodies, and now this week we had a East Coast kid, David Olson, leave S-Works to go to hot bodies. So it's jumping now.
I saw that, but good for David, man.
Yeah.
He's a good racer, man.
Yeah.
It's been kind of cool to see him progress over the years. It's been pretty cool.
Man, I remember that kid since 2016, man, and I'm just watching him just grow in the sport. But yeah, I think Cole Ogden, be him and Cole Ogden working together on the team, which is cool. So maybe he's working his way up, you know?
Right.
So maybe this might be a better deal than S-Works, you know? You always got to work your way up.
Right.
but when he was with S-Works, like Hot Body was strictly a 8-scale program. And when he was at S-Works, I think he had to run 10th scale. And I don't know, I don't talk to the kid, him and his dad like that regular or whatnot, but a lot of people, when they run A scale, they want to run A scale. And with their 10th scale, they don't want to go run 10th scale. They don't want to be bouncing back and forth. Right. I don't know if that's the case with him, but yeah, by this move here to Hot Bodies, he won't be running 10th scale, He wouldn't have to put up with 10th scale.
Right.
But yeah. So what's the latest you can share with Exalt?
Oh, I don't know. I just got my just picked up some motors this week.
Okay.
Picked up some 17.5s and 13.5s for the trucks.
Okay.
And ready to solder those in tonight. Get ready for next week. And stickering up a body, but man, Exalt's got a lot of stuff coming, man. It's just going to be, just a lot of stuff he's got in the works, and Kevin's super busy over there, and he's keeping AJ super busy over there. And,
right.
Just a lot of good things happening.
Yeah, I saw J Concept come out with their new tire, like the stiffer sidewall of the tire.
Yeah, I got some ordered.
Okay.
So we're gonna give them a go.
Right.
See how they do.
Right.
I think they'll be good.
Okay.
Kind of. Hopefully, we're not gluing sidewalls. That's always so fun, just gluing sidewalls all the time. I hate that, but hopefully that'll eliminate some of that.
Yeah, and then another thing is the temperature drop up there at the Clash, man.
It'll be, us Florida boys. I'll be lucky up there for us.
Well, you say it's gonna be in the 40s?
I think that's what it said.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it said it was going to be it might be high in the 30s during the day, or maybe low 40s, and then in the 30s or 20s at night.
Wouldn't affect that track because it's sealed. I would think it wouldn't affect it.
It depends on what. I'm sure it's going to be hot inside there. I'm sure it's not going to be. I'm sure it's heated.
Right. New Xray cars?
I do.
Elaborate any of that?
I can't tell you. It's all secret.
Right.
Well, a car. Where is my car? Oh, I'm stickering up a body, so I didn't know where the heck I put my damn car.
Right.
The car's good. I mean, built, just like a normal car.
They change anything?
Yeah, so I mean, you and I have talked about it a little bit, but the biggest things, I went to the 13.2 millimeter shocks.
Uh-huh.
And that was probably that and the new front end is all new for this year. Everybody's going to say, oh, it's an associated front end. Well, yeah, it looks a lot like an associated front end.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if it works.
It works.
Flattery, imitation's the best form of flattery.
Right.
And that's what everybody's saying right now. Everybody's complaining about it. nobody really ever said anything when TLR come out with the same car that looked just like X-Ray's 4-wheel. Nobody said a word about that.
Right.
Yeah, but X-Ray does it. Oh, they're copying. Everybody's going to copy everybody. If something's working, why not use it?
Right.
But as far as the car goes, I mean, they changed the steering, they changed the front bulkhead. Shock towers are new. Front ball stud mounts new. Trying to think, side rails are new. Transmission's the same. Arms are pretty much the same. Well, they are the same. They haven't changed them. But the kit changed. So the kit, you get 2 sets of arms in the kit. You get 2 sets of springs, 2 stiffnesses in the springs. 2 sets of rear hubs, high traction and a lower traction set. So one with a lower roll center, one with a higher roll center. 2 transmission cases, so a forward motor and a rearward motor transmission case, and it comes with the different gear that goes inside. It's got the new 2-pad slipper on it. So that's a new slipper. The 2-pad slipper used to be a smaller diameter, the metal plates. So now they've come out with the 2-pad slipper with a larger friction area. So the plate's a little bit bigger. And they got an option part that's a vented one. So it's a little bit more lightweight. And I got that staring at me in the face, telling me to put it on. I just haven't got there yet.
Right. Is the body different?
Yeah, the body's different. JC has that. I can't remember what the number is on that body, but it's got that fin that runs down the top.
Yeah.
I don't know if that. Can't remember if that's S2 body or which one that is, but so X-Ray kind of incorporated that, but they kept the rear spoiler on the back for their dirt version, which directs the airflow off the body up to the rear spoiler, which I think is pretty cool.
Right.
And then the carpet version doesn't have that spoiler on it. So new bodies, different bodies.
Right.
The springs are a little bit different. They got a conical shape to them. So that's pretty cool.
They're supposed to be dropping a new 4-wheel shit or coming, right?
I think the 4-wheel is shipping.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think it is shipping. I haven't. I don't run it enough to jump right out and go buy one. Right.
What about the stadium truck? Has that came out yet, or is that still?
They show on the website that there's a 24 dirt version.
Right.
But I don't know if that's a typo or what. I don't know, because I don't know if they're going to come out with any new changes to the trucks or not.
Right.
I'm sure I'll get some more information next weekend.
And and then something else, get your opinion. Has tent scale grown enough to where it worthies new technology? Like, yeah, you got people in the garage tinkering and modifying and, chopping up or robbing from this brand to put on this brand. Do tent scale warrants new cars?
Oh, you're talking about TLR now.
No, Owen, I'm just throwing it out there.
Whatever.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just busting their chops.
Kind of like Mayfield was talking. He's like, yeah, if they got $1 million worth of inventory in the warehouse, they're not gonna.
Well, then that's just it. I mean, we all complain about, we want to do this, we want to do that, but people don't realize the business side of it. And I don't know anything about the business side of it, other than from the people that I've talked to that are in the business. Right. And Mayfield's exactly right. If they got $1 million or $2 million worth of kits in inventory, they're not going to come out with a new car because that'll make that car obsolete. And they're sitting there with $1 million or $2 million in inventory that they can't get rid of. So, try to sell out your inventory or get it down to a manageable amount before you come out with something new. But if they're sitting there with that much inventory, I'd be kind of questioning the guy that had all them made.
Right.
Or questioning the design from the get-go. Was it the correct design to do?
Right.
But
because if the kits, when the kit first came out, or a kit first comes out, it's like the best. Like, it has the new technology and everything, and they can't even keep these kits in order. Like, they can't even keep them in stock.
Right.
But then over time, where other brands have, caught up, now I don't know, I think, probably from that side, that's probably when you need to probably either start trying to thin out your kits, I guess, or I don't know. But yeah, that's from that business side of it. But